And we are live.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to give us a little countdown before we get started, and we're going to allow some people to join us first.
Okay.
And while we're doing that, I'm going to share it to my personal page, and I'll tag
Okay.
you.
Awesome.
See if I can get it to come up. Okay, Tawan is here. Tawan.
Hey y'all.
Hello, hello.
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm
Good.
Awesome. Awesome.
I'm just sharing to my page, Tawan.
Okay. I'll share the mine.
I'm not a technical Google type person, so
You're good. Let me slide over. I think my camera is a little off. Let's see. I'm on a delay tonight, Tawan. I don't know what's going on.
You're on delay.
Yes. Like maybe 3 seconds. Let me see. So I'm kind of all right, guys. Well, welcome to Tangy Tea of Life. I am your host, Veronica, co-host Tawan. Let me see if I can get myself right in the camera first. All right. Co-host Tawan is with us tonight. Hey, Tawan.
Hey.
And we have a very special guest tonight. We have Sheriff-elect Darren Yarborough from the
hello.
Florence Sheriff Department. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How's everyone?
Good.
Good.
We know that you're a very busy man, and we thank you for taking time out this evening to join us on the tea for this very, very important topic this evening. And I'm so glad to know because you're able to tackle this subject because you actually represent cases.
Yes.
I don't know about now, but you used to when it comes to sexual assault and domestic violence. So it's a pleasure to have you on.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, guys. So since we started the Tangy Tea Show, we have so many people that watch and so many people that reach out for different cases, different situations. And this young lady actually reached out to me through Facebook. She said that she was actually browsing and she came across our page on Facebook because she actually was looking for a platform for someone to actually talk about her situation and what she'd been through, sexual assault that she went through last year. And I'm going to share some of her story.
Okay.
She shared with me that she was raped last year right here in our area. and the justice system failed her. Young lady at a party, having fun, having a few drinks, and the next thing she remembers, she was kicking and telling the guy no, because she was being taken into the bedroom, and she woke up the next morning naked with a bed full of blood, as she described it, and with the guy laying right behind her, passed out as well. And according to the young lady, she had evidence of her attacker admitting what he done to her. And I know the young lady is watching tonight. She reached out to me. Well, I reached out to her earlier to let her know that we would, be talking about this topic this evening. And she's watching, her and her family. And I'm pretty sure that there's others that been in this same situation that's also watching. She wants justice, not only for herself, but for other women that may have experienced this as well. So Darren, this young lady felt like people who was supposed to help her failed her, and talking about law enforcement. She said she went to the police department to report what happened, but they didn't, in her words, they didn't investigate properly, and they closed the case very quickly. Now, is it possible that this case could be reopened for this young lady?
Definitely. You know, I don't know which department, it was that investigated the case, but, it can definitely be reopened if, a lot of times people don't push enough because they feel as though that law enforcement, is not listening. And sometimes we, and I say we because I'm in law enforcement and I don't want to separate myself, but sometimes when we feel as though, like you said, she was at a party, and, we begin to get the wrong picture of things. But one of the things that you said that, was, very profound to me is when she said no. No means no.
Right.
No means no. I don't care if you at a party. I don't care if you, whatever, but no means no. And so I would encourage her to go back. And if you had to start talking to the chief or the sheriff or, again, I don't know which department it is, to get this, case reopened, I would encourage her and her family, to go back and get this thing reopened. Now, the hard part about it is a lot of the evidence has already been gone. Okay. A lot of times victims, if they can get the strength at the time to call right then and there, you'll have more evidence to prosecute, this person that violated them.
Mm-hmm.
But it still is a case that can be prosecuted.
And going back to what you say, like some of the evidence, meaning, going back to what she said, she still have evidence. Not
Right.
sure. I guess it's like a video or whatever. But when you speak of evidence, meaning like when they have to go through like a rape kit, do you call it?
Well, like you said, when she woke up, he was there. There was blood on the sheets. That's DNA. That is strong evidence. That's evidence that is very undisputable. Especially in a crime that was pretty much freshly committed. But you can't go back now and get that evidence, but it still does not mean that she doesn't have a strong case. But the longer you wait, the harder it is to prove that case.
Yeah. And see, and that was another question that I had here. She said she was left depressed and suicidal for months before going to the police. And that was my question. Could that have been that she waited too long to come forward with her case? How important is it to reach out as soon as, something like that was to happen?
It's very important to go ahead and reach out quickly. But again, these type of cases affect people different ways. And I don't want her to feel like she did anything wrong because she didn't.
Right.
You know, things like that affect people, different ways. Some people can reach out right then and there. Some people shut down. Some people just, like I said, they go into depression. It affect people different ways. So I don't want her to think that there's no hope for her to get justice, for this person violating her, because there's still hope for her to get justice on it.
Right. So, how can the justice system be trusted when they didn't allegedly give her a chance, didn't even take the time to hear her story? I mean, according to her.
Right. And again, she can't, and I know it's hard to say don't give up, but don't give up. You have to keep pursuing. I tell people a lot of times, if you don't pursue it, sometimes officers don't hear you. But when you can, and I tell them, continue to call, talk to supervisors, go up to the chain of command. When you stop, then they're going to sweep it under the rug, or they're not going to pursue it. They're not going to feel as though that it's important. But when you continue to push it and say, listen, I'm not going to stop until y'all do something about this.
Right.
Then it'll get their attention.
Yeah. You have to stay in their face.
Yes. I mean, if you don't show interest in it, then they'll feel as though that, hey, it was just something that, apparently you got yourself into, and, that may be the mindset that they take. But when you show an interest in it and say, okay, well, really, there must be something behind this. They keep coming at us about it.
Right.
So definitely, I would definitely encourage her to keep pushing it.
Yeah. So how are women supposed to feel safe? And a lot of these questions are coming from this young lady. So I want to try to get you to answer all of her questions. And she wanted to be anonymous. She said, she would have loved to come on the show and speak for herself, but she preferred to stay anonymous because she do want this case to open back up. So that she can get justice. So how are women supposed to feel safe, especially after hearing stories like this? What are some of the things that the police department are doing to prevent things like this from happening?
Well, for one thing, as a woman, as a person that become a victim of a crime, you make sure you take precautions to limit that situation as much as possible. Okay, so if you're gonna go to a party, have somebody with you. Have somebody with you at all times. I think she said that she took a drink and then she woke up fighting this guy off of her. A lot of times when people go to these parties, these predators, man, they slip stuff in people's drinks. If you walk off from your drink, leave that drink alone. Don't come back and don't drink it, because you never know who's watching you and who may put something in your drink.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have a girlfriend, hold your drink until you go and, go to the bathroom or whatever it is you're going to do, go on and dance on the floor, whatever. But don't ever leave that drink and then come back to it. Because again, in these parties and stuff like that, you have predators running around, you got alcohol involved, it's getting people, testosterone up. And a lot of times they don't hear no. They don't want to hear no. They feel as though, you're here, you're drinking, you want it. And that may not ever even be the case.
Right.
And as far as the police department and the sheriff's department, I know with the sheriff's department, we have special units that specialize in criminal sexual conducts and domestic violence. That's all they do. That's all they work. And that is huge because they can focus on just those type of cases. And again, I hate to hear that she was basically pushed to the side. Right.
Pretty much. And going back to what you said about having someone there with you, she had someone there with her who she thought that she could trust. She had a friend with her, and evidently that wasn't a true friend.
Right.
The friend watched what happened. From what she remembered, the friend watched the guy drag her to the room. But the friend was all giggles and laughing, thinking, you know, it was a joke. I'm guessing that the friend was intoxicated as well. But and you know, when you get alcohol in your system, all kinds of things can happen. You think things are funny. That's not really funny. You take it as a joke when it's not, you know, meant to be a joke. But yeah, she had someone there with her, but it didn't turn out the way that it should have, because I know if it was one of my girlfriends, they definitely would have had my back. They definitely wouldn't have just watched a guy take me in the room, you
Right.
know, seeing me kicking and screaming and saying no. There's nothing funny about it.
No.
But I always tell these young ladies that they have to be careful. Going back to what you're saying about putting drinks down and things. I don't care if it's water. You don't sit it down. You don't go back to it. You go get something else to drink, unless you have someone there that you can honestly trust to hold your drink while you get on the dance floor or whatever like that. But it's dangerous out here, and they have to be careful. I mean, I know they, you know, want to have fun and do things, and you know, but we all have to take precaution when it comes to that.
Yeah, definitely. You know, again, you know, when you're at these parties, you know, things happen quick. You know,
Yeah.
and this so-called friend that was with her, you know, technically, that friend can, or that person can also be charged. You know, if you
Mm,
see something like this going on and you standing by and you don't render aid, you can definitely be charged. You know, in this case. So I don't know who that so-called friend was. You know, but you know, usually what I used to tell them when I was an investigator, you can be a suspect or you can be a witness.
right.
You know, and again, I don't know which department it was that worked this case, um, but I would still encourage her and her family to go back and have this case reopened. Um, you know, because this is something that's going to follow her for the rest of her life, and it
Exactly.
sounds like it is really on her heavy now.
Right.
And you know, she, you know, because you got the victim advocates that you know follow these cases up, that can help her get counseling and you know and things like that, that because she's gonna need some counseling in this thing.
Oh yes.
You know, she's gonna need some counseling.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get to, there's some questions on the out there too from people that's watching. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. Darren, how can women or men, because it can go either way, men can be sexually abused as well, but how
Yes.
can someone reach out for help in a situation like this? Like, I know they can, you know, reach out to the sheriff's department or the police department. Is there like a hotline number that you have available? Or I mean, we know Google's out there. We can Google anything these days, but didn't know if
Yeah,
you
I
had
mean,
something.
right now I don't have a hotline number available, but I can definitely get that for you and provide it for you. But the main thing is you hit 911. You know, you call 911 and you
Yeah.
get that reported right then and there. Because a lot of times a hotline, you call a hotline, that may be someplace in Texas, that may be someplace in Georgia, that have to route you to someplace that, you know, it may take a while to get to somebody that you can actually talk to. But
Yeah.
911, you call that immediately. And that way they can get, you know, the officers out there, they can get on scene, they can start that report, they can call the investigators out, they can call forensics out, because that is technically a crime scene when someone
Yes.
is assaulted, you know, sexually like that. That's a crime scene, and you want to work that, you know, very, very thorough, because you don't want this predator getting what he or she has done.
Right. So Darren,
So,
can we talk about, I'm sorry, I meant to cut you off.
yeah, I was gonna say, so definitely call 911.
Right. So let's talk about some legal things that a woman or a man can carry to protect themselves. Like, what is legal and what is not. I know you can't just carry a handgun without being certified, correct?
Right.
What about these sprays and knives and things like that?
Well, again, pepper spray it is legal to carry. Now, again, when you're carrying something, you have to be familiar with what you're carrying, okay? Because you're carrying pepper spray, but if you don't know how to use that pepper spray, it can be used on you.
Mhm.
If you're outside, say you're outside at a party and you spray that spray trying to spray somebody, and the wind is blowing the wrong way, well, it can come back on you. Trust me, I know I've been a victim of that. So you have to be careful on using pepper spray. I'm not big in telling people on carrying different type of because actually, if you use it is a weapon.
Yeah.
But whatever type of device you decide to carry, whether it's a handheld stun gun, be familiar with what you're doing. Okay, be familiar with what you're doing, because when the rubber meets the road and you have to pull that out, you need to be well trained in using that, or that perpetrator can take it and use it against you. Okay. That's just like I tell people with these, want to come and get their concealed weapons permit. Well, once you get that, concealed weapons permit, guess what you need to do? You need to continue to train with that. You need to be familiar with that. I tell people you need to become intimate with your weapon, because it can either be your best friend or it can be your worst enemy.
Yeah.
So whatever you decide to do, make sure that you continuously get training with it, and you continuously know what you how to operate whatever it is you're carrying.
Right. So let's go to a question over here. Yeah, someone said it sounds like the friend set her up, and that is a possibility. Because if your friend stood there and laughed about the situation, it definitely wasn't a friend. And people are dirty like that, so it wouldn't be a surprise if she did set her up. Let's see what this one says. Why don't law enforcement follow the South Carolina Code of Law when the victim is intoxicated as proof of and evidence of being intoxicated?
Again, depending upon who that officer or that investigator is, sad to say, some people take their job very seriously, and some people take it just what it is. It's just a job. And the moment you tell them, oh, well, I've been drinking, it's like the interest has been lost, which, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Because again, even if I was drinking, if I had the knowledge to tell you no, then no means no. I don't care if I had, whatever in my system, no means no. And, that officer or that investigator should follow up with, that complaint. And that's just bottom line to it.
So we're going to jump on you, Darren. So you won the primary elections to become the next sheriff of Florence County. You're just one step away. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What are some of the important changes that you're looking forward to changing for Florence?
Well, and just like what we're talking about now, a lot of that stuff starts with the administration of any department. And that's one of the main things I want to change. Is I want to put an administration in place, of integrity, credibility, and transparency. Your administration is what runs your department. We're talking about the Criminal Sexual Conduct Division. When investigators and officers understand that they have an administration in place that's not going to put up with slight investigations, then they know that they're going to work those cases. So I want to make sure that, first of all, I get that administration in place that can check on these officers to make sure that they're following up on these cases when these victims are calling.
So that means you're going to be hiring.
Huh?
So that means you're going to be doing some hiring.
I'm definitely gonna be doing some hiring. I'm definitely gonna be doing some hiring, and I want people to understand. I want people that's want to work for the people. You know, as an investigator, people used to say I was good at what I did, but I wasn't good because I was good. I was good because I was good with my community, and my community helped me to be good. And that's what I want to bring back, you know, to Florence County is our officers getting out in the community, getting tight with the community again, because we can't do our job without the community. You know, so
Exactly.
that's one of the things I want to bring is a strong administration. And, you know, another thing is body cameras.
Yes.
Body cameras. Here it is, 2020, and our sheriff's office don't have body cameras. That's
Wow.
unacceptable. That's
Yeah.
unacceptable. You know, so those are one of the main two things I want to bring along with, you know, trying to get us some more deputies covering our lower end of Florence County. You only have 2 deputies covering Johnsonville, Pamlico, Olathe, Coward, Scranton, parts of Lake City. That is unacceptable, and
Yeah.
we need to change that. We need to change that. So it's you know, somebody who worked their way up through the ranks. I'm ready to go in and you know, put boots on the ground because I see the need in Florence County that we got to have the right leadership or we're gonna be in trouble.
Yeah, right.
We're gonna be in
Yeah.
trouble.
It's 2020.
Yes.
And there's so much going on out there, you know, and the community does not trust law enforcement right now.
And I understand. Again, you know, when I was out on the street, you know, and I ride through the neighborhoods, people will wave you down. If they over there cooking out, they'll call you over to get you a plate. How many times you ride by now and officers don't even speak to you? You know,
Right.
we need to change that. And all that starts with me as the sheriff and the leadership that I put in place. And I'll make sure we get that change. You know,
Yeah.
I don't want people, you know, afraid of us as law enforcement officers. I want people to come to us and be able to trust us. And we have to trust our community also. Because bottom line is when stuff hit the fan, guess what? It affects all of us.
That's right. Yes. So let me see. What are South Carolina law? Wait, let's go. Put it up here. What are South Carolina laws concerning owning handguns? Must you have a permit?
No, you don't have to have a permit to own a handgun. Okay, you can own a handgun legally. You can carry it in your glove box or in the trunk of your car. But now to carry it on your person, you do need to have your concealed weapons permit. You do need to have your concealed weapons permit to carry it on your person. But once again, when you're talking about handguns, please make sure you have the proper training. I work at an indoor gun range, and trust me when I tell you, everybody don't need a gun in their hand without proper training.
Yeah.
We do private lessons at our indoor gun range. If you want to know about a gun, how to hold a gun, how to handle a gun, you know, picking a gun up in your hand it's just more than just picking that thing up, pointing it, and shooting it. Okay, you need to understand everything about that gun. So if you decide to get a gun but you don't know about it, you know, come by and visit us at Blue Line. We can, you know, we'll do a private lessons for you. We'll answer any questions that you have. Make sure you do your research before you just go out and purchase a gun, because again, God forbid you pull that trigger, you can't pull that bullet back. You
Exactly.
So
You
are
can't
y'all
pull
open by appointments only, or just you can just go there?
No, you can go there. We're open Monday through Friday, 10 to 8, and on Saturdays from 10 to 5. We do private lessons Monday through Friday from 12 to 4. And again, you know, the private lessons we do, we would, you know, walk you through the handgun that you have, or we will let you use one of our handguns. We will show you everything about that gun, how to hold it, how to load it, you know, the sights and everything. We will, when you walk out of there, you will understand what you need to do with a handgun.
Now, Darren, what are some of the things that you all are doing in Florence to stop all of this senseless killing that's going on? I mean, every time you turn on the news, you're hearing about someone being shot and killed. And
Well, right now I'm not working in Florence in the law enforcement, division. Again, I work at Blue Line and I work part time with Ladder. I really couldn't tell you a lot of what the departments are doing to stop a lot of this stuff. I know
well, let me
that.
reverse that. Let me say, what will you do when you become sheriff? What will you try to do to stop all the violence that's going on?
Well, if I sit here and tell you that I can stop the violence, then you don't need to vote for me
Oh,
because we can't stop all the violence. But
right.
what we can do is be proactive. Okay, we have to be more proactive in our community.
Yes.
Okay, law enforcement officers. You don't see the law enforcement officers in the community like you used to. Okay, you don't see law enforcement officers engaging with our young people like you used to.
Right.
Okay, you can barely get a law enforcement officer to even talk with you right now. We have to change that.
Yeah.
We have to change that. And again, it starts with the leadership. And that's one of the biggest things I want to do because I'm a community person. You know, I still ride in West Florence and go by the park, or go by the park in North Florence, or go by the park in East Florence. I'm a community person, and I want the officers that's working up under me to be community people. Again, it's going to take all of us to change this, pandemic of killing each other, everyday senseless killing. It's going to take all of us to do it.
Right. Yeah, we're going to have to come together and just wake up and be like, listen, what are we doing? Why are we doing this to each other?
Yeah.
So,
I mean, one of the biggest things, one of the things I want to do, especially for our young people, I remember when I was growing up, I was part of what is called a ride along program, where you can come out and actually ride along with law enforcement officers to see what they actually do pretty much throughout the day. Right. I want to implement that again with the sheriff's office as a ride along program. And also I want to implement the Explorer program. And Explorer program is with our young people, where they can actually come and just interact with law enforcement officers at the department and just come there, hang out, learn what we do, ask questions, and things of that nature. I want to implement that program for our young people. Right. we can't just forget about people as law enforcement officers.
Yes. Right. And that was another question I had, because when I interviewed Mr. James Hudson, that ran for Darlington sheriff, I asked him the same thing. A lot of times when we see when it comes to politics and people being elected for different positions, we see you all then out in the street, having cookouts and fish fries and barbecues and things like that. But after election is done, it's like everybody.
Years.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't see them until another 4 years.
Right.
And that's not me, because again, I'm a community person. People see me all the time. For the last 20 something years, they see me at the ball games. I'm at Basins. I'm at Long Grain. I'm somewhere eating. I'm at Walmart, and I will continue to be that person, as the next sheriff of Florence County, where you can see me and you can express your concerns, in your community. What's going on? What are you going to do about this? Well, how can we, change this? And, that is what's needed in leadership now.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what we need. Now, I see a lot of people are commenting on here. Yes, body cams are a must. Like, how is 2020 and they do not have body cams? That is crazy.
Yeah. Again, when you look at a couple of these incidents that took place, let's take George Floyd incident for a minute. If it wasn't for the cameras around, how would that incident have turned out? And again, that falls back to personally to me, I think that's an administration issue, because number one, this officer has 17 complaints against him. 17 complaints. And basically what he was saying while he was kneeling on his neck was, hey, my administration got me. I already had 17 complaints against me. Ain't nothing gonna happen. You know,
Exactly.
if it wasn't for these cameras, no
Right.
telling what would have happened. Okay. We look at this last shooting, I believe, in Wisconsin, where the guy was videoing from his window, and he said, I heard him say drop the knife, but I didn't see a knife. Then when he came around and he went inside the car, again, if you had body cameras, you would have seen everything that took place. You know,
Exactly.
they said that it was a knife in the car, it was a gun in the car, but guess what? We don't know. But
Yeah.
again, if we had body cameras, we would have a little more understanding of what took place. This is
Right.
why I don't understand why we don't have body cameras in 2020. You
Don't
know,
under-
and any officer that don't want a body camera, to me, there's something wrong. I
Yeah.
would want a body camera to protect me, you know,
Exactly.
to protect me.
Hmm.
So we're gonna get body cameras. We're gonna get body cameras.
Yeah. Definitely need that. So a young lady asking, can we get the fees for the lessons, the gun lessons?
Yes,
Firearm.
$30 for the fee for 45 minutes. And you have to call and set up an appointment 24 hours in advance
That's for the private lesson.
for the private lessons. And I don't encourage anybody to take that CWP class if you don't know about shooting, because you can fail that class with us. We're not going to just give you that CWP, carry permit. So if you don't know how to shoot or if you never shot before, take a private lesson.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So $35 for 45 minutes, you said?
$30 for 45 minutes.
$30. Okay.
Yes.
So DARE was a good program for us growing up in school. We've lost that aspect.
Yes. There was a good program. Again, even in school, they're taking programs away that when you was at the career center, they don't have brick mason no more. They don't have body works no more. Auto body works. They don't have none of the stuff that helped us.
Right.
As young kids and young men and women growing up. It's taking all that away. We sometimes just really need to get back to the basics of things to get things back on track.
True.
Yeah. I mean, we've gotten so advanced until you have kids now don't even know how to pick a broom up and sweep the floor.
Yeah. Yeah, and the parents.
Mm.
I don't know. It's the technology that took over, like sitting around playing video games, and it's not like back in the day when we was outside. I don't care if we was making houses with sand, or what you call it, sand houses or whatever. We was outside doing something. But
Sand
yeah,
castles, Veronica.
huh?
Sand castles.
Sand castles?
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing. Thanks, Dawn. So we have a question here for you. Does Darren feel like this will be an uphill battle versus Republican opponent, being that this is a strong Republican area?
I don't think so. I think people are looking for the best candidate. That's the good thing about the sheriff race. People want the best candidate. It's not about Republican or Democrat. They want the best candidate because, number one, as a sheriff, I'm not I'm not sheriffing for a party. I'm sheriffing for the people of Florence County. When you call 911, I'm not saying you're a Republican or Democrat. You have a Darren Yarborough sign in your yard, or a TJ Joyce sign in your yard. No, I'm coming to you as a citizen of Florence County because guess what? You just called 911 and you said you needed assistance. So I hope that you look at the best candidate, and not a party.
Yeah. Are there any laws on the books now that that you, Darren, would like to see dissolved?
Any laws on the books? None that I can think of. One of the biggest things I would like to see is more training for our officers. Sad to say, a lot of our officers only get the training one time a year that we are, supposed to get to keep up with, certain type of legal updates. I want to bring more training for our officers. When like Florence County, we deal with a lot of mentally ill people. You need to understand whether this person is mentally ill, whether this person is on drugs, whether this person has autism. We need to understand that our officers need these type of training. When you go to a house and the family they outside, they're saying, well, he's in the house acting up. He's in the house, tearing the house up, acting crazy. Well, we need to be able to ask the family, do we have a mental illness problem? Was he on drugs? What's going on? All that type of training help us to be able to respond in the way that we supposed to respond. Some of the laws have been changed the way we have to deal with mentally ill people now. Just because, again, we can't just pull our tasers out and tase somebody. We have to, be able to articulate whether this person is mentally ill, whether this person is on drugs, and all this come with the right type of training. Somebody who has autism, you stop them in the car, yeah, they can drive, but they may have certain, illnesses that we need to know about.
Right.
So we need. I think it's more so training that we need than laws coming off the book.
Right. Because we noticed, watching the news and things, that a lot of police officers are trigger happy these days.
Yeah, I don't understand it. Once again, me coming up as a law enforcement officer, my gun, man, rarely ever broke my holster. I mean, we would run in woods, jump fences, trip over chicken wire. I grab you, we tussle, we fight, whatever. I handcuff you, and then you go to jail. I don't understand the 0 to 100 deal right now. A lot of these officers, I fear for my life. I fear for my life. Well, listen, if you're fearing for your life like that, maybe you're in the wrong profession. Maybe you're in the wrong profession. But one of the things that I do believe is when you have a 21-year-old that's, coming out the academy, you give this, 21-year-old a badge and a gun and a powerful car with just 12 weeks of training, and then another maybe 8 weeks of training. If they get that 8 weeks of training at the department, that's a lot of responsibility for that person.
Right.
That's a lot of responsibility for that person. One of the things I'm looking to do is, if you don't come to my department already Class 1 certified with experience, guess where you're going to have to start at? In the jail. In the jail. You're going to have to start in corrections. One thing I love about corrections is this. Correction is going to teach you. It's going to teach you how to talk to people, how to communicate with people, how to de-escalate situations without, guess what? That badge and that gun.
Yeah.
That badge and that gun. You can't always depend on that badge and that gun. So that's why I definitely want to start people off in corrections, because it's an area that will, the same people that you're going to deal with on the street, guess where you're going to see them at? You're going to see them in the jail.
Right.
So that's where I want to start them off. If you do not have a Class 1, you got to give me at least a year or two in the jail.
Yeah.
We forget about our jail, but those people in that jail, man, they work hard. They work hard.
Yeah, definitely. So we have another question here for you. Outside of law enforcement, what are some community organizations Mr. Yarbrough is a part of?
I am a Master Mason, Olive Grove 339. I do a lot of speaking I used to, before this COVID thing, a lot of speaking with our young people on definitely, safe driving and the responsibilities as a first-time driver. A lot of people don't understand that you have a responsibility as a first-time driver. A lot of our parents want to buy these kids these expensive cars, these fast cars, but guess what? They have a responsibility. And I teach a lot about that. I talk a lot about actually responding with law enforcement, so how to respond when you get stopped by law enforcement.
That's a must.
Mhm.
Definitely. Okay, let's see. Yes, I work in a group. I work in a group home, and if we have to call the ambulance or law enforcement, we have to let them know that they have mental health issues.
Yeah. Because again, if that officer don't know, that officer may feel as though that person is being aggressive towards them. And it's not that person is being aggressive. They have that mental illness. They may be off their medication. They may have mixed their medication. And this is stuff as law enforcement officers, we have to be better trained to deal with and recognize quickly. Because the situation happens so quickly, you may think this person is just acting crazy towards you, and it may not even be.
Absolutely. What would you do differently in the administration aspect than when you previously worked at the sheriff's office? What would you do differently?
Well, the biggest thing I would do is I would be visible and I'd be accessible. As a sheriff, one of the things that I saw that was a weakness in the department is absentee. If you're not there as that leader, you don't know what's going on. You have to be at your department every day. This is what the taxpayers, this is what the citizens, is expecting of you. Be in your office, understand what's going on, know what's going on in each department, know what's going on with your captain and your majors, know what's going on in each division there. And I would definitely be that leader that know what's going on in my department. That's very important. You don't want to be someplace and somebody asks you about something and then you looking crazy because you don't know what happened.
Exactly.
So that's one of the main things I would make sure that I'm accessible, not only to my department, but to the citizens of Florence County.
Someone made a statement that hairstylists get more training than police officers.
Well, that can be true. Hairstylists also make more money than police officers too. So
That's great.
But again, we definitely we like the training that we should get. And again, all that starts with the administration. If the administration don't push the training, guess what? They're not going to get it.
Right.
But that will change come 2020 with Darren Yarborough as next sheriff of Florence County.
Yes. So someone said with the training respect, need to play a major role in training, because if law enforcement don't respect the citizens now, how could we respect them?
That's a very fair question. And again, it starts with me as the sheriff and the command staff that I put together, because the officers have to understand, and they will. I remember when I was coming up as a law enforcement officer, we had officers like Major Ross, Lieutenant Kennedy, George Mack, Larry Drayton. These guys didn't play with us as young officers.
Right.
We could just go out there and act fool and act crazy on the citizens. That's why it starts with, the administration. Everything starts with the administration, and it starts with me as the sheriff of Florence County.
You make sure they have cultural sensitivity, right?
Let's see. How are you going to recruit for deputies?
Doing thorough background checks on people. You can't just somebody just because their family, their dad own this business or their family own that business.
Yeah.
When you're putting people in law enforcement, you have to make sure that this is what these folk want to do. They're not just looking for a job. they're looking for a career. You know, we would have a strong background check because, again, if you don't do that background check, you can let somebody in that is involved in some kind of gang activity, that may be, you never know what they may be involved in. So we would definitely do a strong background check when it comes to hiring people, as a law enforcement officer.
And cultural sensitivity.
Because a lot of times, you hear about these officers that's taking the lives of Black men. You hear, after the fact, oh, they've been working there and they got let go. They were working here and they got let go, and they've been working there and got. So why are they continuing to get these positions?
Well, that's because that department, what they don't do is send that complaint or that issue to the academy. A lot of times if, say with let's say take Florence County, for instance, if you have an officer that has several complaints and they ended up getting fired because, let's say they shot somebody, okay, and they end up, doing something crazy, and if the department don't send that complaint to the academy, then that officer can go someplace else and get another job.
Cultural sensitivity.
Wow.
That's what's in the politics.
So let's see. Do you feel any extra pressure or scrutiny being placed on the sheriff's office? Let's pull this up so you can see that. Do you feel an extra pressure or scrutiny being placed on the sheriff's office as a result of recent activities dealing with former Sheriff Kenny Boone?
I do not, because again, I know the leadership that I will bring to the sheriff's office. And one of the biggest things that I'm not going to do is look back at what took place. My hand is on the plow now. As the Bible said, man that putteth his hand on the plow and looketh back is not fit for the kingdom. I want to be fit for, the sheriff's office, and I want to look forward, and we're not looking back. Anytime we look back, we stay back. So we're going to look forward to the new leadership, and we're going to push the sheriff's office to its, greatest potential.
With your vast amount of experience, who has been the most influential mentor over your career?
Man, a lot's from one of my biggest mentors is a guy named Melvin Godwin. He was actually the one that started me riding in the ride along program, with Florence City Police Department. Larry Drayton, Terrence Caraway was one of my FTOs at the Florence Police Department. And then when I got down to, the sheriff's office, I got, have guys down there like Pop Redden, Clint Caldwell, there's so many of them guys down there that, the older guys that really mentored us as young guys, Lewis Ashley, guys that just mentored us as coming up, as young officers, and I like that question because that's what we need. We need officers to be able to mentor these younger officers coming up. We've lost that. We've lost that. I think a lot of stuff we fall again into this technology, and we need to go back to the basics of a lot of things, and that's one of the basics. So I appreciate that question.
All right. Is there any age restriction for deputies?
You have to be 21. You have to be 21. You have to be 21.
Mental evaluation and background check. Is that a question? Mental evaluation and background check?
I think I know what they're saying. That's something I think the legislature is pushing, is because, at one time we used to get mental evaluations, or not mental evaluation. We used to get evaluations as law enforcement officers before we can even actually take the job. And then they got away from that. But that's something I think that I think that they're pushing because of so many shootings and so many incidents that we have to take a psychological evaluation before now we can become law enforcement officers. We have to take a psychological evaluation. And I think that's a good thing.
So someone asked a question, why 21?
Well, I mean, 21, you consider an adult,
State regulation.
you know,
Right.
and that's pretty much what the state recommends.
As a police officer, how can you get young Black men or young teenagers to trust police again after everything that's going on in the world today?
It's a process, you know. It's a process. Again, we have to get to the point to where, as law enforcement officers, when I see you as a young kid, I don't, begin just to judge you. Let me talk to you. Let me rap to you. Let me get with you, and when we sit down and chop it up a little bit. What's your interest, man? What you looking at in life? It's just the basics of getting back, to the young people. And that's something, again, we don't do. Instead of me pulling up and jumping out, the first thing I'm asking you, you got your ID on you. What you doing over here? Where you coming from? So, that's something as law enforcement officers we have to get back and do.
Right.
That we're not doing.
Yeah. Winning back the community. Will there be a debate, or are you open to debate?
I'm open for a debate. As a sheriff candidate, I don't think that there's ever been a debate. But I mean, I'm open for one.
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Tawan, do you have any questions?
She was kind of quiet all night.
I'm
And
just
that's
listening.
May I
I'm
respond?
listening.
You said
Y'all
that?
answer.
Okay, because I was gonna say the key words that you need. Okay.
Say it again.
No, Tawan said she was just listening.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on, let me put that up there. What are your thoughts on the avocation program for FCSO?
What?
Did I say that right? Okay. Did you freeze up? Oh, there you go.
No, what are my thoughts on what now?
What is avocation program? I'm not exactly sure what that is.
Aviation program?
Aviation.
What are my thoughts on the aviation program? I think they're talking about the helicopter program. Florence County need a Okay, we back. Hello.
Okay, we hear you.
We back.
Yeah.
Yes, you and others.
Okay, so I think what they're talking about is the program. We keep going in and out. Okay, we back.
Yep.
Oh, we back.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Not being any longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do I think about the aviation program? Again, at one point in time, I was very much against having a helicopter here in Florence County because, for many, many years, we used SLED with their helicopter, and they were able to get here in, 25 to 30 minutes. But now that Florence County have a helicopter, that is something that I would definitely have to look at once I'm there to kind of see, is it a tool that we really, really need? Or can we use SLED helicopter, whenever we need them?
Right. So someone asked, someone made a statement, what hurts me more, than anything is to see a 4-year-old run when they see a police car.
Okay. Just
Yeah, a lot of times when you have parents that, when we're in, let's say Walmart or a restaurant or something, and, you have parents tell their kids, now I'm gonna have that police to get you,
Right.
that fear in, the kids. And
Yes.
so that's one of the things that I definitely ask parents not to do, because we're not there to be the boogeyman, for your child. Okay. We want kids to come to us, not run from us, and I would hope that parents would stop doing that. Don't use us to scare your child, because again, as they get older, that's the first they're going to do is run from the police. And we don't want that. We really don't want that.
Do the police department has Big Brother problems?
Big Brother problems. Big Brother programs.
Could be
Probably.
programs. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but no, we do not. No, but no, I don't think we have Big Brother programs. Again, that is something that comes with the the ride along program, and that comes with the the program that we have for our young kids, the Explorer program. That's basically will fall up under that Big Brother program.
Okay. With the election close at hand, what can citizens do to support your campaign before going to the polls?
Again, if financially, if you want to support, I have 3 ways that you can support my campaign. One is my Cash App, which is $Yarborough 2020. Or you can go to my website, sheriffyarborough.com, and you can go to the PayPal, and you can donate that way. Or you can go to my you can do it old school if you want to send a check to my P.O. Box, and I'm going to read that off. It's P.O. Box 12722, Florence, South Carolina 29504. Again, that's P.O. Box 12721, Florence, South Carolina 29504, or my Cash App, $Yarborough 2020, or Yarborough.com at PayPal. But the biggest thing, I would rather have 100,000 votes than $100,000. So please, the biggest thing is get out and vote for me.
Everyone needs to be to the polls come November. Everyone. So being that you are from Florence, can you explain the importance / function of officer discretion?
One of the biggest thing about officer discretion is this, you have to know what situations you're coming up on. A lot of times with me, as an officer from Florence, I knew the area, I knew the people, so I kind of knew what to expect when I'm going into certain areas. A lot of people don't have that luxury, but this again is why, as an officer, you have to connect with your community. You have to ride your community, get out and talk with people, get out and connect with them, learn the people that, the areas that you're riding in. And that would definitely strengthen your discretion on when you respond to certain calls in your community.
I'm butchering some of these words.
Okay.
Let's see if we have any more that I missed. Okay, so and I didn't mean to get off topic when it came to the young lady, the purpose of us being on this live tonight.
Right.
We don't want, her thinking that we forgot about her, because like I said, her and her family are watching this. Now this is kind of long, so bear with me going back to the sexual assault. South Carolina Code of Law, Section 16.354, criminal sexual conduct in the third degree. 1 states that a person is guilty of criminal sexual conduct in the third degree if the actor engages in sexual battery with the victim, and if any one or more of the following circumstances are proven. B, the actor knows or has reason to know that the victim is mentally incapacitated or physically helpless, and aggravated force or aggravated coercion was not used to accomplish sexual battery. I think he's just making a statement about the law,
Right.
the criminal sexual conduct. Do you have anything to add to that? Because when it comes to that, like I think a lawyer is on here, maybe he can answer some of that.
Yeah, it was probably just giving you the statute of criminal sexual conduct, which again, you have different degrees of that. So
Yeah.
I don't know if there was a question in there or not. But again, bottom line, if a person says no, then that's just what it is. It's no.
Right.
No means no. You can't mistaken. Oh, I didn't understand. I didn't know what they were talking about. No means no. And to the young lady, she said no, and that was just bottom line. No meant no. And again, I hope that her and her family would pursue this. I don't know which department it was, but I hope that they will pursue it and get it reopened, and bring this person to justice, because if he did it to her, there's no telling how many other people he may have done it to.
Exactly, and that's what she said in her statement as well. There's so many victims that's walking around here and scared to come forward, or they told someone and nothing happened. But someone wants to recap of the story, what happened to this young lady. So really quick, a young lady reached out to me because she wanted a platform where we could talk about sexual assault, sexual abuse. She was raped here in the area last year. Was at a party, had a few drinks. She actually woke up with blood all over her on the sheets and stuff, and the guy that raped her was behind her, sleep. When she woke up, she did have evidence. She said she had evidence of him stating what he'd done to her. She went to the police department, but they sort of like brushed her story off. So nothing's been done to her accuser. That's the short version of her story. So we just want to know how she can get justice, and not only for her, but for other women or men, for that fact, that's out there and been in the same situation.
Yeah. And again, I have to reiterate, I know she may be scared. I know she may, feel as though that system has already let her down, but, don't give up. Again, if I can be of any help, please, reach out to me. I guide you the best that I can, get you in contact with the people that you need to be in contact with, because I don't want you to give up on this situation because, you're a victim. You were a victim. You didn't do anything wrong to deserve this. And we want to make sure that you get justice for it.
Yeah, and a lot of times when an individual go through a situation like this, they do feel like it's their fault. All types of things be running through their mind, like I should have did this, or maybe I shouldn't have did that. Maybe I shouldn't have wore this tight shirt or this tight skirt. They put all the blame on them, but no, it's not your fault. No means no.
That's right. That's right.
Just because you're wearing something that may look too presentable to someone else, or you may have had too many drinks, that still doesn't give a person the right to take
violate
it.
you. That's right.
Yeah. So don't think that it's your fault. Just but make sure you tell someone, like you were saying earlier, Darren, you have to stay on them. I mean, they brush you off 10, 20 times. Keep going back until they get tired of you.
Yeah. And a lot of times it may, sometimes the officers, because these officers, especially at work in these special divisions, they get a lot of cases. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for them, but they get a lot of cases. And if they feel as though that a victim is not sincere, then they may try to move on to the next one, but we want her to understand that, hey, listen, we want you to get justice, and we want you to get satisfaction, in this case, and it's not your fault. And I don't want you to just drop the ball on this one. And I just think that, law enforcement is not there for you.
Is there a statute of limitations on rape cases?
There's not. Like I said, hers been about a year, and, they can open it up and they can go for it again.
Yeah, but it is best to reach out when it happens. The sooner the better.
The sooner the better. The sooner the better. Because again, you want to grab every piece of evidence that you can grab. The case together to where this joker, this predator, whoever they are, don't even want to go to trial. But you want to make your cases that strong to where they don't even want to go to trial.
Right.
But if they do go to trial, it's going to be, a case so tight that the jury would definitely find them guilty.
Is there a special victims unit in place for those type of incidents?
Yes.
Someone who only work those types of cases? That was a question.
Yes, there. You have your victim advocates at each department. At the sheriff's office, you have 2 victim advocates that work there. You have victim advocates at the police department, and also you have victim advocates when you go to a general session court. That will definitely be there for you. You also have the different departments that work along with the criminal sexual conduct divisions and the domestic violence divisions. That also helps, in these cases also.
So, you have to be competent enough to consent. I'll put that one up there. Intoxicated is not open consent.
No, just because, again, you are intoxicated, that does not mean that you're giving consent.
Right.
It doesn't mean you're giving consent.
In situations where 2 people are married but rape still occurs, how difficult are those cases? That's a good question.
Again, it can be difficult, but I've never had to deal with one of those type cases. And again, it's one of those cases that you would definitely have to really look into and have a strong investigation before you can prove, especially if they're still living together.
Right.
Now it'll be something different if they were separated. They're living in separate homes and the person come over and sexually assault that person, that's something different. But you know, if they're living together, man, that's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a tough one.
But no means no, married or not.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. No means no. No means no. I mean, if you say no, man, leave it alone.
You okay?
Leave it alone.
So let's see. There's it's more of a comment. I will encourage the young lady and her family to speak with all her elected officials, prosecutor, as well as sheriff and local/state representatives. They all work for the citizens' well-being.
Yes. Yes. That's why I say don't give up. You know, don't give up. Again, you know, push for it. Push for it. You know, they work for you, you know, as a citizen. You know, don't give up. Don't give up. That's all I can tell you is don't give up. And again, I'm here for you if I can do anything, you know, to help you in any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely, don't give up because this guy, he destroyed her life. I mean,
Yeah.
this is something that she's going to take with her for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
You know, he
And
violated her
he's still walking around, you know, and again, don't know who else he may have victimized.
right. With so many cases, I'm gonna put this one on the screen. With so many cases, would it be wise to add additional help to cover the backlog so no case would go unnoticed or not worked on continuously?
You know, one of the things that, you know, when I was investigating over the criminal sexual conduct division and domestic violence division is that we tried to have investigators that are assigned. We had 2 domestic violence investigators and 2 criminal sexual conduct investigators, and they try to prioritize their case as each investigator always do. You know, you try to prioritize your cases so that no victim, you know, cases is not worked properly.
Mm-hmm. Someone made a comment that you are a great guy. Do you believe that, sir?
You know, I do. I mean, I try to make sure that, you know, when I do things, I'm doing it for the benefit of the people. You know, I want to work it the same way if, you know, I was a victim or somebody in my family was a victim. That's how I've always approached my career as a law enforcement officer. You know, I mean, I remember working cases where, hey, you know, drug dealers, you know, shot one another, but just because it was a drug deal, I don't want nobody saying, hey, you know, you didn't work it because he was a drug dealer. No, a life was taken. So we have to work these cases no matter what the situations are.
Right. So we have another question here, and then we're gonna wrap it up because I know you have things going on. In today's social media climate, should victims, I'm gonna put this up here so you can see it. In today's social media climate, should victims use internet platforms to get the ball rolling if law enforcement is not able to act immediately?
Sometimes I will say no, because just what you just said, if they're not able to act immediately, sometimes you can hurt your case if you put it out there too fast. Now, you know, if you feel as though that they're not acting at all, you know, then that's kind of like your judgment. But be careful what you put on social media because it can actually hurt your case if you have an active case going on. So be careful with that.
Yeah, that is true. We have to be careful what we post on.
Yeah.
You gotta be political. I mean, if you're gonna be political, stand and not just
Say it again.
I said we have to be careful what we put on social media because you know it can hurt.
Yes.
You know.
Definitely.
Can you speak on being a mandated reporter?
being on a mandatory reporter.
Mandated.
Speak on being a
Something goes wrong.
For
Like I am for the school district.
is
You have to
who is this?
report if you hear something.
Break that down for us.
Yes, if they would clarify that
I mean, they
question.
report is you hear something going wrong, you're supposed to report it.
So someone says communication is a big key here. I'm not sure if she's speaking about between law enforcement and the community.
Mm-hmm. Well,
As a mandate-
communication is
you're
definitely a
obligated.
big key.
As a mandated reporter, you're
It's
obligated
definitely a big key.
to report any discrepancies against the law.
Is that your wife?
Yes.
Yeah. So she's reading the questions out loud. That's what that is. So Brandon's question was, what does it mean to be a mandated reporter?
Well, from my understanding is, you know, if you see something, you know, you have some type of knowledge of something, then it's your responsibility to report it.
To the next one.
You know, it's your responsibility to report it.
If you
And
see
again, yeah, you know, and again, and you know, a lot of times people may understand, people may say, well, I'm not trying to be a snitch or anything. Put yourself in that victim's or that family's position. If that happened to your family, you know, would you want somebody to report it?
Right. So someone wants to know, what kind of dance moves will you bring to the sheriff department?
Wait and see.
Well, you know, we have to see what music is playing at that time.
Something to get you going,
Yes, yes.
Well, Darren, thank you so much. We're going to wrap this up tonight. Thank you
really
so
appreciate it.
your time and answering questions for us, and definitely helping this young lady out with her situation. We were praying for her and hoping that she will get the justice that she deserved.
Yes.
No one should have to go through that. No one should have to live with that on their heart, knowing that their attacker is still out there living their best life while she's sitting there suffering and going through this heartache and pain every single day she wake up and think about it. So definitely praying for her.
Yes.
Definitely justice is served for her. And like you said, if she needs you to help out in any way, you are there.
Yes. And let me give my number if you know she has any questions or her family has any questions, or you know anybody may have any questions, they can reach me at 843-409-5699. You know, if you have any questions for me, if you want to know a little more what I'm, you know, planning on doing as sheriff, also just stay tuned to my Facebook because my platform video is about to come out, and you have a little more understanding of what I'm looking to do for Florence County.
Yes. Well, once again, thank you, Sheriff-elect Darren Yarborough. We appreciate you and wish you nothing but the best of luck come election time.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and I appreciate you having me.
You're welcome. Everybody, make sure you get out there, register to vote, and definitely go to the polls come November.
Yes,
guys, thank
November
you so much. Tangy Tea of Life. We were live on Facebook and also YouTube. Go and subscribe to our channel over there. We really appreciate the love and support here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.